last session we have discussed about the types of protections used for transformers and bus bars. In this session, let us learn about more how the transmission lines and feeders will be protected for different types of faults by using different types of relays. First of all, let us know what is meant by a feeder. A feeder is nothing but a link between the two circuits, that is the link between source as well as load end, and the feeder may be long line, medium line and short line. And here we will see how the feeders and transmission lines will be protected from the different types of faults. The feeders or lines may have several kilometers of length, therefore the types of problems arises will be different from the generator, transformers and bus bars. Here the feeders will be protected by using time graded overcurrent relays, differential protection relays and distance relays. Apart from these three, differential relays are more worthy compared to time graded overcurrent relays and distance protection relays. But the disadvantage is we have seen what is the differential relay. The differential relay, whenever the difference of current flows through the relay will operate. For that we have to incorporate two CTs either end of the protective system, and these CTs secondary wires should be connected through the pilot wires. So here for the generators and transformers it's okay, but for transmission line, because it is a several kilometers length, so connecting either ends through the pilot wires is a very costly and very expensive system. Therefore instead of differential protection we can use time graded overcurrent relays and distance protection. So first of all, let us see what are the different types of feeders. The types of feeders you can see here. This is the wire transmission line. It is connected to an alternator winding, and either side you will having a CTs, CT1 and CT2, and they are connected through the pilot wires. This is the pilot wire. So here if it is alternating winding, the distance between either end of the winding will be small, therefore we can use the CTs through a pilot wires. In place of this, if we put a transmission line, the transmission line consists of several kilometers, so therefore a longer pilot wires are required. Therefore this protection is very costly, hence this protection cannot be used for transmission lines for bigger length of lines. The requirements of a line protection. When we are talking about the protection for the lines, so what must be the requirement for a relay? The requirement for a relay can be seen like this. Requirements of line protection. The circuit breaker nearest to the fault should be open. That means there are so many circuit breakers all along the line, but the nearest circuit breaker should open the fault. All other circuit breakers remain in a closed position. That means one circuit breaker operates, that means the other circuit breaker should be closed position. If nearest circuit breaker fails to open, that means if the nearest circuit breaker fails to open, then backup protection should be provided. That means the remaining circuit breaker nearest to the fault again should be open. That means if nearest circuit breaker fails to open, backup protection should be provided. The relay operating time should be just as short as possible. The relay operating time should be just as short as possible. So these are the requirements of line protection. That means the circuit breaker nearer to the faulty section should open first, so that the other circuit breakers will be remain in a position, and the fault should be cleared as early as possible. That means quickly it has to be remove the fault, so that the other healthy system cannot be further damaged. These are the requirements of line protection. So in the line, first let us discuss radial feeders. What do you mean by a radial feeder? Radial feeder is nothing but a single line. That means all the loads are connected through a single line system, that is in series with the source. So in this time graded overcurrent relay protection will be used. So in time graded overcurrent relays are nothing but a non-directional relays. Non-directional relay means if the fault occurs, the fault current will be flowing in either direction, therefore relay can also operate on either direction, that means forward direction and reverse direction. But you can see how the time graded relay protection will be used for a radial feeders through this diagram. Time graded overcurrent protection. So this is a generator, is feeding to a transformer. This is a step up transformer, primary winding and secondary winding, and from the transformer it is feeding to different substations, let us say A, B, C, D. Each will have a one circuit breaker. This is a blocks is nothing but a circuit breaker 1, circuit breaker 2, circuit breaker 3, circuit breaker 4. So that means all the circuit breakers in turn substations are connected in series with the transformer. Transformer again connected in series with the generator. So this is called a radial feeder. That means only one feeder existing in the line. In this system, what happens if the fault occurs at any one end? That means if the fault occurs at D to E, so that means here the once the fault occurs, the circuit breaker will trip. Therefore, fault current will not. That means the current will not flow from D to E, and from suppose E to E again some more sections are added, that the current will not pass. That means the supply is disconnected only up to D. That is the disadvantage of having a radial feeder. So in radial feeders, you can see here these are nothing but a non-directional relays. Through the circuit breaker, a relay connection will be there. Relay again further cannot be shown. Inside the circuit breaker, the part of the relay connection will be there. So if arrow mark is shown either direction, that means it is a non-directional relay. Non-directional means if the current flows this direction or this direction, that means forward direction or reverse direction, both the operations, both the sides the relay will operate. So now the nearest to the generator end, the relay setting will be, the time delay will be 2 seconds. Then if you go further, the time will be decreased in steps of 0.5 seconds. That means at B 1.5, at C 1 second, at D it is a 0.5 second. That means the relays are graded at the rate of 0.5 seconds. So that means what is meant by a setting of 0.5 second? If the fault occurs within the 0.5 second, the relay will operate. That means, so here suppose the fault occurs in this line. Now on a radial feeder, let us say the fault occurs at section DE. So this is the fault. So if the fault occurs, so what happens? The fault current will be flowing. So the current normal direction is this. So immediately the relay at D will operate within a time frame of 0.5 second, because the time is set about 0.5 seconds. So within a time frame of 0.5 second, the relay D will operate. Once D is operated, that means the section DE will be removed and the current flow will be up to D section. Suppose beyond E, if some more sections are added, then current cannot flow. So now, so suppose in case this relay D relay fails to operate, then after 1 second relay C will operate. So the time duration from D to C is another 0.5 second, that means 1 second. If D fails to operate, after 1 second C will operate. If suppose C fails, B operates, B fails, A operates before the transformer. That means after 2 seconds the relay A will operate. So once the relay A operates, that means though there is a no faulty between A to B, B to C, C to D, the entire system will be blocked. That means because of malfunctioning of relay D, so A has operated, therefore entire system has been collapsed. This is the disadvantage we have in this type of radial feeder system. That means in radial feeder, if any one section goes under the faulty, so the current will be stopped at that point. If by chance the relay does not operate, the other relay will operate. Therefore, the healthy section also will be disconnected due to the faulty of other section. So here the time grading will be about 0.5 second from one relay to another relay, and if you go on nearer to the source, at source the maximum time frame fixed is 2 seconds. If it is a 4 sections we have seen in this, the time frame is 2 seconds. If there are more sections, again the time frame will be more. So therefore the time gap is more, that means unnecessary, because of one relay fails, the other system, the healthy system also will be damaged. So let us see more clues about the radial feeder protection with this chart. Now radial feeders, power can flow only in one direction. You have seen in the diagram, power can flow only in one direction. Generator to supply, that is power flow from generator to supply end. Continuity of supply cannot be maintained. If one block goes out of, suppose BC goes, then continuity of supply cannot be maintained as per the figure. Time graded protection is used by using definite time relays. The two is inverse time relays, that means in time graded there are two types of relays, definite time relays, inverse time relays, and backup protection also is available in this protection. That means if relay D fails, then C operates, if C fails, then B operates, that means backup protection also is available. So what is meant by definite time relays and inverse time relays? Definite time relays means, as per the chart you have seen, for each relay the time is fixed. Suppose it is fixed for 0.5 second, so within the 0.5 second the relay has to be operated. It cannot operate quickly than 0.5 second, because it is independent of current flowing in the circuit. During the fault current will be flowing much more than the normal current, but even though the fault current is more or less, but the relay will operate within the time frame, that is 0.5 second. And if that relay fails, the other relay operates only within 1 second. It cannot operate before the 0.5 seconds or 0.2 seconds, because the time frame, the time delay is fixed for 1 second or 0.5 second. So but in time definite time inverse time relays, what happens, the time is inversely proportional to the fault current. That means T is inversely proportional to 1 by IF. So fault current is more, because it is inversely proportional, the time operation will be very less. So definitely if the fault occurs, the fault current will be more and time of operation will be less, so that the healthy systems can be easily the healthy systems cannot be damaged due to the fault of the other section. So let us see more about definite time relays. So definite time relays are, time of operation of each relay is fixed. If it is fixed for 0.5, it will operate within the 0.5 seconds. Time of operation of each relay is fixed. It is independent of the operating current. That means whatever may be the fault current, but it is the time frame is fixed, therefore it is independent of operating current. The third point is, relay D has operating time of 0.5 second. You have seen in the chart, relay D has the operating time of 0.5 second. So time delay is increased by 0.5 seconds. So the time delay is increased by 0.5 second. The fault is cleared by relay circuit breaker at D. The fault is beyond the D, so the fault is cleared by relay circuit breaker at D. If D fails, C will clear the fault. If D fails, C will clear the fault. You can see from the figure, if the fault is in this section DE, if D fails, C will clear the fault after 1 second, that is within 1 second. So that means each relay is graded to, now first D to E it is 0.5 second, C to D it is 1 second, then B to C 1.5, then A to B 2 seconds. So tripping time at supply end becomes high. So as you go to the supply end, the tripping times becomes very high. These are the definite time relays. Let us see more about inverse time of relays. So inverse time relays, operating time is inversely proportional to the operating current, that is T proportional to IF. So you can see here, this is T, that is time operating time, is inversely proportional to 1 by IF. What is IF? This is the fault current. When the fault occurs, this is the IF, this is the operating time. When fault current more, then time of operation will be less. So definitely when the short circuit occurs or ground fault occurs, the fault current will be more than normal current, therefore time of operation will be very less. That is the advantage we have inverse time relays. Operating time is inversely proportional to the operating current, that is T proportional to 1 by IF. So in this, inverse definite minimum time lag relays will be used. IDMT, inverse definite minimum time lag relays will be used. Relays A, B, C will inverse time characteristics. That means they will have a inverse. That means if fault current is more, the time of operation will be less. Very inverse type of relays also used. That means if the fault current is more, so rapid action will be there. That is inverse type of relays also will be used. So we have seen the different types of protection used for the radial feeders. So radial feeder is nothing but only one feeder will have a different sections. Will have a different sections, and all the sections will be connected in a series manner, and each section will be protected by a non-directional overcurrent relay. And if the fault occurs, nearest circuit breaker relay must operate within a time frame. If that relay fails to operate, then the next relay should operate, and always the relays will be having a time setting of 0.5 seconds delay, 0.5 seconds. But the disadvantage in this is, as on you go from load end to the source end, the time taken will be more. So therefore there is not a healthy for the generators or transformer side. So these can be avoided by having a parallel feeder protection. And one more thing is, in radial feeder protection, if one block goes wrong, so the continuity of supply will be stopped at that end. This can be avoided by having a parallel feeder connection. What is meant by a parallel feeder connection? That means the circuit will be connected through the two lines. If one line goes out of order due to the faulty, so the other line will be in the continuity. So you can see through the circuit diagram what is the parallel feeder connection with this. So this is the parallel feeders. Now this is a generator is feeding to a two feeders. This is a feeder 2, this is a feeder 1, this is a feeder 1, this is a feeder 2 combinedly connected to the generator, and these feeders are connected through the circuit breaker and in turn through the relays, that is relay A and this circuit breaker relay P, and in feeder 2 there is a circuit breaker and relay B, there is circuit breaker relay Q. Now you can identify here NDR and DR. NDR means non-directional relay, where the relay can operate both the directions. Here arrow mark is shown from both the direction, this side as well as this side, and here directional relay, the arrow mark is shown only one direction. So non-directional, it operates both the direction. Directional relay, it operates only one direction but not a forward direction. We have seen in detail about the directional relay. Whenever the reverse current flows, then only the relay will operate. That means arrow is shown this side. If the current flows only this side, then only relay will operate. So during the normal condition, now you can see normal condition, the current flows from GBQ. When current flows through GBQ, then this relay, directional relay, cannot operate because the current is flowing in the forward direction. Instead of that, if the current flows from QBG, that means this direction, then the relay will operate. That is the property of directional relay. Whenever the reverse current flows or reverse power flows, directional relay will operate. So in parallel feeders, you will have a two non-directional relays, that is NDR here as well as here towards the source side, and two directional relays towards the load side. This is the load part, this is the source part. Source part you will have a non-directional relays, and this part you will have a directional relays. And non-directional relays, you will have a inverse time characteristic. That means the time of operation depends upon the fault current flowing, whereas directional relay, they are not inverse, they will not have a inverse characteristic, but they have a instantaneous characteristic. What is meant by instantaneous characteristic? As on the fault current flows through the relay will operate very instantaneously without any time delay. So that means if the fault flowing in the reverse, that is in reverse flow in directional relay, within a no time the relay will operate. So, that is the advantage we have through the directional relay. Now, from the figure you can see if the fault occurs, let us say the fault occurs on feeder 1, this is the feeder 1, the fault occurs on feeder 1. So, when the fault occurs on feeder 1, the current flow will be two directions, that is this is the one direction, forward direction, the current flows from G to A to F, that is G A F, it is the one direction. Again you can see here the current also flows like this. So, that means the current flows also from G B Q P, the current also flows from G B Q P. So, when the current flows through the P in a reverse manner, instead of normal direction the current is coming in the reverse direction, therefore, the relay P will operate. So, once the P will operate means it will close its contacts. When P closes its contact, then circuit breaker opens its contact. When circuit breakers open its contact, that means here the feeder 1 is disconnected. So, after the time then once the P is open, then immediately A also will open, because you can have a doubt whether B will open or A will open. Because of inverse characteristics, more fault current flows through the A, therefore, circuit breaker near to the A will operate, A relay will operate. Now, you can see here, so P will operate and A will operate, that means the total feeder 1 is disconnected. So, once the total feeder 1 is disconnected, but still you can feed the load through like G B Q L. So, that means if this feeder is disconnected, even though you can have a supply from the other feeder, that is the disadvantage, that is the advantage we have in parallel feeder system. In parallel feeder system, we have a non-directional relays, we have a directional relays, 9 directional relays are in source side and directional relays are load side. Whenever the current flows, then immediately directional relay will operate and non-directional relay will operate after some time. So, therefore, in total if the fault occurs on feeder 1, the feeder 1 will be disconnected and feeder 2 will be intact. If the fault occurs on feeder 2, only feeder 2 will be disconnected, the feeder 1 will be intact. So, therefore, always the load will be supplied any one of the feeder. So, you can have more details about the parallel feeders. Parallel feeder protection, where continuity of supply is required. Increase the transmission capacity. By using the parallel feeder, you can have a increase the transmission capacity. If fault occurs, one feeder continuity from the other feeder. If one feeder goes also, other feeder will be in continuity. Non-directional relays at source end, inverse time characteristics. The non-directional relays at source end, but they have a inverse time characteristic. Directional relay at load end, but they have instantaneous characteristic. That means here the relay will operate very instantaneously. Grade the time setting of relays. So, non-directional relay will have a time setting of grading. So, you can also have more about the parallel feeders. If earth fault occurs on feeder 1, it is desired that only circuit breaker at A and P should open. You have seen in the diagram, only A and P should open to clear the fault, whereas feeder 2 remain intact to maintain the continuity of supply. The fault occurs on feeder 1, only feeder 1 will be disconnected, feeder 2 remain intact. So, relay A operates, B does not operate, relay P operates, but Q does not operate. That means, a relay at feeder 1 is A and P, only these relays will operate, but at feeder 2 B and Q does not operate. Now, after the parallel feeders, but in nowadays in modern distribution system, we have a ring main system. What is meant by a ring main system? Ring main system means if the fault occurs on any one section, easily that section can be removed and we can repair and we can again reinsert into the ring. So, ring is nothing but a closed path, consists of many more generators and number of substations. So, when you are connected across a ring, if any one section goes also, you can have a continuity of supply from other substations. This is the advantage we have in ring main protection. Let us see the diagram through the what is meant by a ring main system. So, this is the ring, this is the generator. Now, it is nothing but a closed path, supply start from generator. Now, you can have this is a closed ring and it consists of substations S1, S2, S3, S4. That means this ring will have 4 substations, S1, S2, substation 2, substation 3, substation 4. Each substation is connected through some load, that is substation 1 to substation 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to again back to generator. Now you can see here A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J are relays interconnected with the circuit breakers. Now here what happens, if circuit breaker, this is A, relay A, this is the relay B. Now you can see here this relay A and relay J, they are connected towards the source end. When the source end, you will have a non-directional relay, the arrow mark is shown either of the direction, therefore these are the non-directional relays. And the incoming of substation this and outgoing of substation this side, you will have a directional characteristics relay. So here that means at load end source end you will have a non-directional relay, and substation incoming and outgoing end you will have a directional characteristic, but each relay is having a time delay of 0.5 second. Now start from generator, you take this side from substation 1 to 2, then the first one is set for the 2.5 second non-directional relay, then the other relay, then you can see C, not B, A, C, that is 2 seconds decrement of 0.5 second, then C to E you can see bypass the D and CE 1.5 second, E to then come back to G, that is 1 second, then G to I 0.5 second. So it is a decrease of 0.5 second from relay to relay, and you can see in this direction below the direction, that is G, S4, S3, S2, S1, again you have a 2.5 second non-directional relay, then 2 seconds, then 1.5 second, then 1 second, then 0.5 second, like that. So that means the relay is decreased to 0.5 second. Now if the fault current flows this direction, that means the opposite, because these are the directional relay and the fault current flows in this direction, that means B, D has to operate. If the fault current is coming in this direction, that means E and C should operate, then A should operate. But if the current is flowing this direction, B cannot operate, B will operate but C cannot operate, because the arrow shows in the normal direction. So whenever the reverse power flows, then only the concerned relay has to operate. Now let us see if the fault occurs, at section EF. If the fault occurs at section EF, then the fault current will be flowing like this and the fault current also coming like this. If the fault current flows like this, then the relay will operate. If the fault current comes like this, because once a fault occurs, the current will be flowing in both the direction. So E will operate, F will operate. Therefore relay E and F will operate. So once the relay E and F operate, because if the current flows like this, relay have a inverse characteristics, that means this reverse characteristics, therefore E will operate. If the current coming like this, then F will operate. In total E and F section will be disconnected, that means relay E will operate, relay F will operate, E and F section will be disconnected, even though you can have a power up to this point incoming of E, and from here you can have a up to point of F. This is the advantage of ring main system. In ring main system, even though if the fault occurs, only that fault section can be removed, but the other section can be intact. So you can see more about the directional ring main system. Ring main system protection: 4 substations interconnected like a closed ring. Non-directional at generator end, that is A and J. Directional relay at substation incoming out, that is directional relay at substation in and out end, that is B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I are the directional relays. Damaged section can be repaired. Power supply from both ends. Time grading of relays in both directions, that is 0.5 seconds. So we have discussed about in detail how the ring mains will be protected by using the directional and non-directional relays, and we also discussed how the parallel feeders will be protected, and we also discussed how the radial feeders will be protected. But this protection cannot be used for the transmission line protection. So, transmission line will have a several kilometers of length and they are exposed into the atmosphere, and the types of faults posed also will be different compared to the feeder protection. So, in transmission line protection we can also employ differential type of protection, but the line is will have a many more kilometers, therefore, pilot wires also require many more kilometers. It is a very costly, and therefore, this protection cannot be employed. In place of that, distance protection will be used. What is meant by a distance protection? Distance protection means the relay will measure the distance of the fault. If the fault occurs about 2 kilometers range, so at 2 kilometers what is the impedance of the line will be measured by the relay, and if that impedance falls below the predetermined value, always that up to that point some impedance will be set. If that set impedance falls much below during the fault, then the relay will operate. This is the characteristics of distance protection. Let us see the distance protection. Now, this is the generator, this is the substation, this is the line. If the fault occurs here, initially from here to here some impedance will be set, that impedance called ZL, that impedance will be measured. How it will come? We know the transmission voltage, we know the current. So, V by I is the Z, that is voltage by current is the impedance of the line. So, impedance of the line is fixed, it is fixed and it will be calculated before the design of the line. So, once the fault occurs, we know voltage will falls down, this will be falls much below the transmission line capacity, then the fault current will increase. Once the fault current increases, voltage falls, what happens? Z will be the measured, Zm means impedance measured at the line. So, that impedance measured at the line is Zm. So, this Zm falls much below than ZL. So, because fault current is more, voltage falls, therefore, the impedance also fall less, because this is more, this will be less, because they have inverse characteristics. So, when this is less compared to this, that means Z measured, that is impedance measured falls load impedance, that is measured load impedance, then the relay will operate. So, relay operates. So, what does it mean? That means if the measured impedance during the fault, the relay will measure the impedance up to the fault distance, then this impedance is less than the predetermined impedance, then the relay will operate. That is called distance protection. Now, you can see distance protection through the figure. So, this A is the power station, B, C, D are the substations. So, power station is feeding to different power stations. I have taken only one line, and from A to B, that is power station to substation 1, the measured impedance is ZA, and B to C the measured impedance is ZB, C to D the measured impedance is ZC, D to B and E the measured impedance is ZD. So, now here the total impedance is Z, from here it is ZA, ZB, ZC, ZD. Now, let us say the fault occurs in between the section C and D. So, the fault occurs, this is the fault. So, the relay will measure the fault impedance. Let us say from C to F, that is up to fault, the impedance is Z. So, definitely this impedance will be less than ZC. ZC is the preset value, but this is the measured value. The measured value will be less than ZC, that is Z less than ZC, then relay trips. Which relay will trip? C, relay C at C will be tripped, because the measured impedance falls below the preset value, then the relay will operate. If suppose C fails to operate, then you can see at B. So, the B is set value is ZB and ZC. So, that means here, so ZB plus Z is less than ZB plus ZC. ZB plus ZC is greater than Z, or Z is less than ZB plus ZC, therefore, B will operate. If B fails to operate, then A will operate. So, some time delay will be there from C to B, B to A. So, here the relay, whenever the fault occurs, the relay will measure the impedance of the line. If that impedance of the line falls the preset value, then the relay will operate. That is called distance protection. So, you can see more about the distance protection. Distance protection, OC relays are not suitable, overcurrent relays are not suitable. BCD are the substations. Relay operates if measured line impedance is less than predetermined value, that Zm is less than Zl. Relays at A, B, C are set to operate for impedances less than Z1, Z2 and Z3. Relay C will operate to open circuit breaker if fault at C and D. Now, here we have seen how the relay will operate. The relay will operate if the V by I ratio, that is impedance, falls less than the predetermined value, then the relay will operate. And let us see the time distance relay through this figure. So, time distance relay, again the power station is supplying to the different power stations A, B, C, and here always some time is mentioned over for each relay, that is always fixed with some time delay. So, suppose the fault occurs section A and B, and the fault impedance will be measured. After measuring, the relay will operate after 0.5 second. That means A is set for a 0.5 second, and 0.2 second is time of opening for the circuit breaker. So, for circuit breaker also needs some time for opening its contact, that is 0.2 second, and relay closing its contacts, it needs a time delay of 0.5 second. So, within 0.5 plus 0.2, 0.7 second relay A will operate. If A fails to operate, then the relay near the power station will have a time setting of 1.1 second, and for circuit breaker operation it needs 0.2. So, 1.1 plus 0.2, 1.3 second the relay at power station will operate. That means it measures the distance as well as the time delay will be fixed for each relay. So, within the time delay only the relay will operate. If fault occurs between A and B, so after 0.7 second A operates. If A fails to operate, after 1.3 second the nearest power station of the relay will operate. So, we can also, if the relay here it has to measure the distance, then it has to act. First it has to locate, that means it has to select the fault where the fault has occurred. So, up to that point it has to measure, then it has to give a signal to the circuit breaker for its operation. But here while measuring, it cannot measure the accurately 100% distance, it can measure the accurate distance up to certain. Therefore, instead of this, even modern technique is 3-zone protection system will be used. What is meant by 3-zone protection? That means the relay will have 3 zones, that means it will have its own first zone and second zone, partly of first zone and second zone of the other relay, and third zone means it operates for the in case third relay fails to operate. So, let us see how 3-zone protection will be employed in transmission line through this figure. So, this is a 3-zone protection. Now, A, B, C, these are red marks are substations. So, in substation you will have either side breakers, circuit breakers A, B, C, D, the circuit breaker in turns connected with the relays. Now, the relay A will have a 3 zones, that is Z1A, that is impedance or zone 1A will have only 80%. A to B is the total distance from here to here, but it will have only 80%, it will measure 80% of the distance. So, that is called speed zone. If the fault occurs between this 80%, then instantaneously A will operate without any time delay. Then beyond the 80%, balance 20% from here to here, it will operate the 20% with time delay, with some time delay, and after 20% also in second zone, another 20% also it can operate. So, this is called second zone Z2A, and from C to D it is called third zone Z3A. That means the relay A will operate instantaneously if the fault occurs 80% of the zone, and it will act 20 plus 20, 40% of the zone with time delay, some time delay, and again third zone up to 80% it will act with some more time delay, with some more time delay. So, now you can have a you can see here, if the fault occurs here, that is in between the 80% of the zone, so without any time delay A will operate. A will operate because it falls within the zone, that is 80% of the zone, the speed operation will be more. So instead of this, if the fault occurs near to a B, that is 20% of the zone. If the fault occurs here, what happens? First relay B will operate. From B it will have its own zone, that is Z1B is a 80%, then it is a 20%, then a third zone. Similarly for D, it is a 80% of the first zone, this is a second zone, this is a third zone. So it is a fault occurs between Z to 1B of the 80%, therefore relay B will operate, but A does not operate because the fault occurs beyond the 80%, though A will give the backup protection, but B will act instantaneously. If suppose B fails to operate, if fault occurs, B fails to operate, then you can see A will operate after time frame of some 0.5 seconds. That means the time delay will be there for second zone protection. So fault is beyond the first zone, so it will act with the time delay. If the fault is between the 80%, instantaneously it acts. Suppose if the fault occurs here, that means if you see from the relay A, it is the third zone, fault occurs in the third zone. So here for the fault occurs 80% of the relay D, so from here to here 80%, so therefore relay D will operate instantaneously, very instantaneously it will operate because the fault is existing 80% of the zone. So suppose D fails to operate, if D fails to operate, that means A will have some time setting, let us say about 1.1 second. So after 1.1 second, relay A will operate. So how does A knows? That means if D fails to operate, or if relay instantaneously discovers the fault, some type of signal will be given to A, so that if the signal is heard by A, then A knows that already the fault has been cleared by D. If the fault has been cleared D, then the relay will not operate. Suppose A does not receive the signal from D, so immediately after 1.1 second the A will operate. So this is called third zone or three zone protection. So we have seen how the distance protection will be employed in transmission lines. Let us have a small question answers about this. In time graded overcurrent protection, discrimination is incorporated. The first one is in time graded overcurrent protection, what type of discrimination is incorporated? Time discrimination is incorporated. Time discrimination is incorporated. Each relay is graded with some time. Differential protection scheme for longer lines is dash costly. I have told you differential protection if you are using for a transmission line, it is very costly. The parallel feeders dash be protected by NDR alone. The parallel feeders cannot be protected by NDR alone. They are also protected by DRL, directional relays, and non-directional relays. So it cannot be protected by NDR alone. The ideal scheme of protection for lines is distance protection. The protection of two parallel feeders requires two limit fuses, two directional relays, two non-directional relays, two directional and non-directional relays. So for protection of two parallel feeders, we need two directional and two non-directional relays. In the protection on scheme of transmission line, the relays employed are directional OC, non-directional OC, distance or impedance, backup. In the protection scheme of transmission line, distance or impedance relays will be employed. In a ring main, very important question, in a ring main system having 6 sections with maximum relay operating time 3 seconds. Time grading between relays will be 0.5 second, 2 second, 1 second, 0 second. That means here 3 second is total operating time. How many sections you have? 6. So that is 3 by 6, you will have 0.5 second. So within a 0.5 second the relay will operate. So we have seen different types of protections used for transmission lines and feeders. In the next class we will have a protection for the lightning arresters.